right now, the most important thing for me is finding true love. You'll kind of see me. I was very focused on my timeline, and I was like, okay, I graduated college. All right, I'm starting my 9 to 5. Okay, I need to have my baby and my husband right now. And that's not really how it is. And it doesn't need to be that way. And I can focus on my career and my friendships and like, great, I got the degree. Like love will find me eventually. I'm not pressed anymore.
Just everything with our lives. We both were raised certain ways. We both had similar stories. We connected. Like my other dates went well, but every time I had dates with Ray, we connected on every level. So that was definitely the dates I was looking most forward to throughout the show.
Yeah. So actually, there's a period in the middle where you're just by yourself. So when you're dating everybody, you are alone every night with your thoughts, to think about like the dates and how they went. So I went from my relationship to saying goodbye to him to a week by myself to then moving in with Jake to then literally moving out with Jake and then moving back in with Zay. It was a whirlwind of emotions. I was very anxious to live with one of the other guys. It's very uncomfortable, sharing a bed with someone new. Jake and I slept very separately. It was a lot. It was so weird. After my first date with him, I didn't realize like we were just so connected immediately. And they, after you date everybody, you kind of rank your 1 through 5. And Jake was my number 1 all week. And I knew from the first date, just the way I felt so comfortable with him. He was my number 1 from the jump. After the first date, I told one of the producers, I was like, I think he's going to be my guy that I move in with. And they were like, what? No, it's day 1. Like you got to date around. I said, okay, but I'm telling you, I think he's going to be my person.
Yeah, I grew up with the single moms, and she did everything she did to be where I'm at now. So I love her to death, and yeah.
So Zay doesn't have a relationship with his biological mom. Fortunately, he's had some amazing people kind of step into his life that he's not related to kind of try to help fill those gaps that were left with that. Zay didn't really ever understand my connection with my mom and me wanting to share with her all the time and how close that relationship was. He would always kind of be like, well, why are you talking to her all the time? You don't need to tell her this, or, we don't need advice in that way. And I was like, she's just my everything. And he couldn't really relate to me. But wherein, Jake could, it kind of would hurt me sometimes. I could totally empathize with Zay and see the way that he grew up and the way that it affected him. But on the flip side, he couldn't do the same for me and see how the way I grew up just made me so much closer to her. He just couldn't understand that. The most rewarding aspect of this experience for me was actually the friendships that I took from this. Everybody from the cast has been absolutely amazing. We have a whole group chat. The whole cast is in it. There's only one person who's not in the group chat. They chose to leave the group chat. That was their choice. But just the friendships that I made with Madeline and Colby and Shanique and Randall and Lauren and Nate, like we all grabbed drinks. Like it's just been, we've all been so supportive of each other. So the most rewarding thing was the friendships that I've gained and just the knowledge of knowing like what I want moving forward and learning about myself. And we also learned a lot about like love languages, dating, coping skills, how to listen. So I think just learning and the friendships was the most rewarding aspect. And then the hardest aspect for me was just feeling bad. The whole time I felt bad about Zay and Shanique connecting. I felt bad about if I was hurting April's feelings. I felt bad about if I was there enough for Jake. I felt bad about what Madeline was going through with Colby. I felt bad hearing about, like, I'm just such an empath, like everything that was going on. I was like, I feel terrible. So yeah, that was probably the hardest part, was just all the drama and all the emotions.
The hardest part was just having cameras around you 24/7. Like I like keeping my life private. I don't like my life being out there. I didn't want to be on this show to the get-go. Like I don't care about the fame or anything like that. But yeah, it's just, my anxiety was going crazy throughout the whole show.
So I think that I think that the two strongest couples going in, or the strongest couple going in, was Alexis and Hunter. I love seeing their dynamic. I love seeing how that played out. I think that they were one of the strongest couples going in, and Alexis just knew exactly what she wanted, but she just didn't want to move in with somebody before she got married. But Hunter clearly has these like great respect towards her and these feelings towards her. So they're the strongest couple. I think that the two weakest couples going in were actually, April and Jake, and Zay and myself. I think that with April and Jake, they had a lot of like communication issues where Jake was not speaking his mind. And then you see it kind of come out at the group night where Jake is like just letting everything out. And April was like, my God, where's this coming from? And Jake is like, this has been under the surface the whole time. So they had a lot of underlying things before they got there. And then with Zay and I, you see, we love each other so much, but I'm like, I want you to stay home more. I don't want you to party. And he's like, I still haven't graduated yet. I still want to party. I still want to do this. But like, I think where the disconnect between Zay and I was he would look at me and tell me, I love you. And I do want to get married one day. And I do want to have kids one day, but it just wasn't the right fit.
Honestly, to be honest, I feel like me and April were the weakest just because we were having our differences before the show and we were trying to figure things out. And the fact that I did not want to do that and she did not care about what I thought and just put me on the show either way, that was kind of just, we already were going on the show on bad terms. And then the strongest, I would have to say either Alexis and Hunter or Randall and Shanique going on to the show as the strongest.
So what I'm going to say about Jake and I is that even though we walked away from the experience and decided to just focus on ourselves, we both need to just focus on healing right now. So ladies, don't DM him. He just needs to focus on himself, as do I. I need to focus on myself. But we are still very cool. I think he's an absolute gentleman. I loved my time with him, and whether he ends up with me or not, or whether I end up with him or not, I just want happiness for both of us.
So we're still in communication. We talk all the time. Thank you. But now we're in communication. We kind of put a hold on to it, especially after the show with the trip and everything like that. We did come out of a relationship for 2 years with two different people. So we kind of just, after the show, we got closure with that, tried to figure ourselves out, figure out what was going to go on with that. I was going to let her do her thing. I was going to do my thing. And it could happen down the road. We're still in contact. We're still good friends. I love her to death. She's a kind-hearted person. So we'll see how that goes.